This week on the Lonnie and Ryan podcast.
I'm not going to mention names because I'm at war with a couple YouTubers in the storage business over the
Mhm.
years, and they are fake, in my opinion. They are
Okay.
100% fake in every aspect they do. That's the truth that I believe because I became at war with some people who were not very good people, and they didn't like what I knew about them, and some bad things happened. For example, um, I've gone live and whatnot and sold $50,000 in 2 hours. A TV pilot, which we pitched to Spike TV. 3 months later, they hired Mike and Ton to be storage actors on the show for the television show I pitched. And so
Whoa.
I've always kind of been pissed with TV shows.
This week's guest is Mike, also known as the Storage Auction Pirate. Mike is a seasoned veteran when it comes to buying storage lockers and making content about it. He was one of the first ones in the entire space to start uploading units that he bought to YouTube. Mike has lived an extremely interesting and exciting life with a mixture of good times and also some really tough times. He was gracious enough to open up and tell us basically his whole life story and all of the things that he's been through. We are so thankful he joined us on the show this week. Join us in welcoming the Storage Auction Pirate.
What's up?
Looks
How you
and
guys
sounds
doing?
good. How are you, man?
I'm doing well.
That's a gorgeous piece of property you have that you just sent me. You just sent me to anybody listening or watching to this. By the way, how do you want us to address you? Pirate or?
You can call me anything you want to.
David
Okay.
is your name is David, right?
Technically, my birth name, legal name is David, but I've been called Mike since the day I was born.
Mike.
My middle name,
Oh,
so
okay.
none of it makes sense though. But everybody calls me Pirate, so
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
we'll go with Pirate. You can call I'm Lonnie, by the way. It's nice to meet you there, Pirate.
all right. Nice to meet you, Lonnie.
Yeah, but like I was saying, the video you just sent me, you just texted me a video of your property, and that looks beautiful, man. Are you up in like the wilderness or?
I don't. Are you familiar with California at all?
Not really. No. What part of California are you in?
Well, I moved from the Bay Area, but a very prominent town a lot of people know is called Lake Tahoe, which is like an hour north of me. It's like a big vacation
Oh,
spot, casinos, lake, and stuff. So we're close to that, but we're way out of the city now. Yeah.
was that like a dark?
That lake I sent you a photo of is like literally like 4 minute drive from my house.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's so nice. So it looked like you had well, you were telling me earlier as well that you're juggling all these different things in your life, which relatable.
Yeah.
Very
But
relatable.
sounds like you're a busy guy. So by the way, thank you for doing this. Appreciate it because I know you're super busy. But
Well, as you know, content creation is like it sucks all of life from
yep.
everything. Like whatever you do and then you create about it, it makes everything twice as hard.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Everything.
It does.
It
Dude,
really does.
I spend minimum every night, 5 nights a week. I spend about probably 2.5 to 3 hours after I get off of work on it. So I totally feel you, man. And
Yeah,
you
I've
do.
started to slack on social media because it's really hard to make long format videos and keep up with everything. So that's the one thing I let go to the back burner these days is the long format videos.
Interesting. Okay. So that would mean what like YouTube? Because you have Facebook as well, right?
Well, I run two YouTubes, a Facebook, an Instagram, a couple TikToks. Like most of those are short format, but YouTube's the one where I do the long 16 by 9s and same on Facebook. But I've kind of held back on long format on Facebook because reels pay so well on Facebook. So it's you don't really have to
Mhm.
do long format. And
Right.
I used to have an editor, but she passed away like a year ago, and I just haven't had the
Oh my
desire to
goodness.
bring somebody else in again. I just been doing it myself again.
So you've got I was looking earlier, you've got over 1 million followers on Facebook. So Facebook is now is that like your prime, that's your prime social media thing now?
Well, I guess the lack of better words, I follow money. So
Right.
Facebook's the one that pays me the most. I've never really had extreme luck on YouTube. Like I can get views and stuff, but they don't give me the money I desire. And Facebook has been doing pretty good. Like I've pretty much paid my mortgage this month on Facebook, which makes me
Nice.
happy.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
pretty good.
And it is my largest platform, but I pretty much on all platforms I have a fair amount of followers. Like, like TikTok's like a 500,000, Instagram's like 400 and
Wow.
some thousand, YouTube's now at 300,000.
Pirate, I was looking a little while ago. I was just looking at your YouTube account, and man, I did not realize that you were that guy, because I ordered your videos from most popular, and of course, the one I saw where you're
The video
drilling
that
into,
started everything.
yeah, or you're drilling into the safe, and man, I saw that video when it came out.
There
And
was there was a time when there was nobody doing what I do on social media. The only person in the resale world that did what we all do now was me and Gary V when I started doing this. And I literally made the first TV pilot for storages and a lot of different things. And that video sparked everything. It sparked what Storage Wars became. It sparked what Auction Hunters became, the television show. A lot of things transpired from that one singular video.
yeah,
When
Did
that
you
video
ever?
came out, YouTube didn't even pay. There was no monetization. It was
Wow.
pre-monetary, post Vine. And then one day I woke up and they're like, hey, this video has yielded you $600 if you hit a button. And I was like, there's no way YouTube pays. And that's when I'm like, I'm in. I'm in. I didn't know this was a moneymaker. I just thought I was making silly videos.
yeah. I remember at one point back in the day, I've been monetized for, I don't know, 11, 12 years or so, something like that. But I remember prior to that, you had to become like a partner, but you had to go through
Mm.
like another company that would actually get the money, and then they would pay you. It would be like a third party kind of. It wouldn't be
Yeah,
direct
it's
from
evolved
you.
a lot. That
Yeah.
video came out in 2008, that safe video.
Mm.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was you, man. But when I was looking through the comments. Did that bother you at the time? Or now? Probably now it doesn't. But all the people that said that was fake in those, did that bother you?
No.
Whenever it didn't.
No, because I'll be honest with you, this is something I personally learned. The number one way to go viral on social media is make people hate you. I hate to say it, but you don't see a video really take off that's full of love. It's fake. You're an a-hole. This guy's it's all the negative comments are what
Right.
make something spiral. So something I try to master in shorts is kind of triggering people. I won't lie. Like I try to find a way to say something wrong or make them correct me or over embellish something because those videos are always the ones that go viral. And I learned that from that video. It's the hate that always sends a video way up here.
That makes sense because especially with Facebook is this super
Mm-hmm.
vitriolic place where literally everyone is angry and ready to like just pounce on something. So that makes sense why you've grown that platform
One
so
of my
large
last videos
for that strategy.
that took off recently was I did a collab with Locker Nuts and Treasure Hunting with Jeebus.
Yeah.
Yes, saw
And
that.
I made a short about it and I'm like, oh, I don't know if this LV is real. It looks like it's got the right, but I mean, I knew it was fake, but it sucks that we say these things for the video. I'm like, I don't know if it's real, but I knew in my head, and that video is taken off on all three platforms. You know what I mean? Like, because everybody's correcting me. That's a fake bag. You're an idiot. It's the same thing. And you learn to take social media that way. You have to have, I always say, thick skin. You can't do social media without thick skin because you cater to the audience. You start to change who you are because 10 people said the wrong thing or two people said the right thing, and you start to become this person because you feel like you're pleasing people, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
not do that.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That
you're
is
right.
true.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I've found myself over the years, and I've had to course correct because sometimes I'll be like, well, I can't say that. I can't do that because then they'll say this or they'll say that. And the next thing I know, I've modified my behavior and I've lost who I am. And I'm
Yep.
like, and then I have to sometimes I'll even just have to quit looking at the comments for a bit.
And the
And
funny thing is, we do
realign.
that. We do that in a sense where, like, say we have 20,000 views and we only have 50 comments, and we let that small
Mm-hmm.
percent
Yep.
Right.
manipulate everything.
Right. And that's not even, yeah, that's just the people that felt. That's probably not even the prevailing. That's probably not the average comment that, or the way the average person doesn't really care that much. They watch you, they're entertained, and then
They
they
don't
move
comment.
on. Right? They don't
Right.
comment.
They don't. I honestly, I'll be honest with you. Even though I know it's not good, because if you watch people, they say reply. I don't look at my comments and I don't reply. I'm very seldom do. They just happen, and that's a bad thing because you're supposed to reply to help the algorithm. But I just never. I just make videos. I don't even care what people say, good or bad, because I do get a lot of hate. I get a lot of hate from all over the place because I don't do what I do just for content. Done this since day one, because what I saw originally was what was going to become what storages are now. And I'm trying to protect this business. And I do a lot of resale, but the storages is my passion.
Hmm.
And I try to be authentic and real because people need to see the bad side of this business. Everybody thinks it's glitz and glamour. We got to overhype everything, millions of dollars of profit. And that's dangerous for this business because most of my friends do no social media and they are the backbone of the storage business. And I feel bad how many people are suffering these days because it's so oversaturated because of TV shows and
So,
videos.
so what does that mean that you're trying to protect the business? Does that mean
Well,
like you're
I don't think
because that's
anybody
going to be kind of
worries that.
that's going to be a
Go ahead.
little bit difficult to do, especially as a YouTuber, because
Because you're actually
obviously,
one of the ones promoting the business, right?
right?
As well. You're
That's a
part.
thin line. I'm not going to call people fake, and I'm not going to be that way. But the realistic view for me, which I'm kind of like a devil's advocate. I say a lot of things people don't want to think or hear. A lot of people I know who do this for content, they're not in it for the money of profit. They're in it for the view
Mhm.
and the RPM, etc. And that makes people act a way that they know is not. I don't know how to say it without offending people. I don't like offending people, but I know people and what they do in their videos and stuff, and everybody overhypes it. Everybody's all about how to get the view, how to rise with the subscriber count, and they're not in it for buying a storage for 500, turning it into 1200. They're in it for how to get 2 million views and make 20 grand on a video. And that's just reality. I'm not saying every content creator does that, but I don't think that there's enough authenticity in the content creation storage auction business.
Okay.
Just my personal opinion. And I'm not saying like everybody's like that. I watch a lot of people and I don't watch a lot of people. I'm just saying a lot of people don't look at it as from a business standpoint. You know what I mean? If you overhype everything, that's why the storage business is now where it's at. It's now $100 storage units or $2,000 because everybody thinks, oh my God, you're gonna find. And I'm part of the problem because, but see, like I'm not really. I don't do it fakely. I have gotten very lucky on storages, but I also
Mhm.
show some major losses. You know what I mean? I've showed storage units where I found 50 baby fetuses. I've found
What?
storages
Whoa,
where
what?
I've
Wait,
lost.
whoa. What?
Yeah, that's my worst storage unit ever is finding 50 baby fetuses in 2 garbage cans.
Oh my gosh. What was that? Uh, I mean, I don't even know if I want to know, really, honestly. But I mean, what was the? Do you know where that came from, or why it was there? Or I don't
I'll
want to
show
see
you.
one. I
I'll
don't want
show
to.
you something right now. I don't save many things. Can I flip the camera? I guess I can. I don't save many things from storages, but this is a sign that says VD, the gift that goes on in giving, right? That sign came from the storage unit. There was a VD clinic, and they
Oh,
had 2 garbage cans. I bought it for $1 because of a guitar case is in there, and there was 2 garbage cans full of baby fetuses.
Whoa.
It's horrific. I took the video down because I felt like it was bad for my channel long term. I thought maybe that was not it might demote me or make me invisible. But one of the few things I keep, because I keep almost nothing from this business, is that sign. And it's funny because you did mention the safe video.
there's the safe.
There it is.
Look at that.
One of the few things I've kept right there too.
That's like a trophy at this point, right? Or that's a prized possession. Is there
It's
anything in it right now? Do you keep
No,
anything
I
in it?
kind of use it. I used to use it as a garbage can in my last warehouse, but it's more like motivation when times get tough and like maybe I'm not doing well financially. I use it to think to myself, any day can change your life. Any day can be the hit. It's
I,
kind of like a weird psychological motivator.
that was so powerful though when I was watching that video, and you open it and you realize there's money in there. You literally fall. You're so happy you fall down on the floor. You fell down in just sheer glee, man. It was so cool.
That was my first big hit. Like when I started this business, like I was very financially nowhere. I quit my previous job and I went knee deep into this for some, I don't know what made me do it, but like I used to be a furniture mover for $12 an hour. And I was raising two kids with my significant other at the time. And I never had a lot of money. And that safe was the first time I've ever in my life seen that much money in person outside of other things in this world. But I never had made that type of money before. And it was,
Wow.
I didn't believe it. I just didn't believe it.
And it got you
It was
hooked.
26K, right? In that safe.
And
What do you,
that unit, I would have never bought that unit in a million years if this guy with the auction, who I considered a complete douchebag, was not there that day. And he was like messing with me because he didn't like that I made videos. Because that wasn't my first video. It's just the very first video that's left on my channel. Because when I started doing this, I was kind of a very off the wall YouTuber. And I did a lot of things you weren't supposed to do, adult things type stuff that we're not going to discuss it. But I just was crazy on YouTube. And so I removed all those videos just to stay more PC. And that's like pretty much the first video. But I was at an auction and this guy was shining his light in my eyes and making fun of me while I was looking at the unit. And I didn't like him because he was a new guy and he thought he had the money. He would bring this little like weird little duffel bag to act like he's sitting there with 100. I just didn't like the guy, right? And I only won that unit, so he couldn't win it. He was the other bidder, and I'm like, "You're not having it. I'm just buying this. I didn't want
what
it
did
for
you
any
pay? What was it?
$800."
Wow. So, man. So
Do you know the
what-
history on
Yeah.
the previous owner of that? I mean, that's
Yeah,
a
why
lot
was the
of
money
friggin'
there?
money. Was anybody like coming knocking on your door being like, "Hey, I
No,
want that back."
there was an ID in it. It used to
Okay.
be in the video, but I've shortened that video because that video was like there was probably like 37 F words in that video originally. There
Yeah, I saw
was
that.
like
I saw a cut like right after you opened it. There's a cut, and it was like you said, "Oh, or oh my," or no, not you. Somebody else. I think said,
it was like, "Are you
"Are
kidding
you
me?"
kidding me?"
that's the kid's mom, who I used to be with 20 years ago. And between me, her, and my other friend, there was so many expletives and inappropriate things. And
I'd be the
that
same
video
way, man.
used to be like 7 minutes long or something. I had to shorten it because
You
I
cut
tried to
out the
change my.
F-bomb.
And so there was an ID in there, and it belonged to an older man. And what I think is it, just my psychology is the unit was full of nothing but like dollar store gifts. Like I think it was somebody's grandpa. They probably didn't even know he had the money. It was like a chair, a bike, and a
Whoa.
bunch of like books and like gifts. Like every Christmas they would give grandpa a new little tool set, and you know and all the money was slightly sequential, like somebody who cashed their check uh you know years ago and just kind of tucked it away. The safe wasn't even visible, so it was like surprising that I found it. And I think it was just a man who barely got by and saved all his money his whole life.
Wow. That is, I
And
can't imagine the
he
feeling.
died, and nobody knew the money was there.
Yep.
Yeah, basically. And that's, I mean, nowadays that's not really that big of a find. When I had that find a long time ago, that was big. And today I don't even know if I would be impressed if I found 26 grand, because
Really?
That's a
there,
lot,
there-
man.
I have friends who have found $20 million paintings in storage units.
Well,
Like
what's your biggest find now since then? Since
my girlfriend.
What?
in a
What?
store
What?
in a
Oh,
storage
it
unit.
is-
I always say that she's my most valuable and expensive item I've ever found. This long story short is she became the manager of my public storage. So technically I always say I found her in a storage unit, and she is like
okay.
my
Okay.
she's my most valuable and expensive find I've ever had.
You met her? That's where you personally had your storage, or were you at like a
Yeah, I
storage?
used to store in public storage for years, and probably 10 years before she became the manager. I was at this facility, and then one day she appeared as the manager, and I fell head over heels for her and pursued her for a long time. And yeah.
Nice. So that video, it came out, you said 2008, right?
Hmm.
So that's way before Storage Wars and all that. Did you ever have any instance of like A&E or anybody reach out to you?
Oh yeah, I was on a storage show called Storage Hunters, which was
Mhm.
probably the worst of all the shows because it was fake. And I
Oh,
Whoa.
actually before that I have a lot of animosity towards the storage business and television show because of these things. So I made the first TV pilot with Spike TV. They came out here from the East Coast with an auction company of mine. It was me and my fat bald tattoo friend who made a big TV pilot, which we pitched to Spike TV. 3 months later, they hired Mike and Ton to be storage actors on the show for the television show I pitched. And so
Whoa.
I've always kind of been pissed with TV shows because I made the pilot that they ended up copying me. It was Spike Television who put out Auction Hunters with a tall, skinny white guy and a fat, bald tattoo dude. And that's what we were making the first TV pilot.
so you basically saw somebody playing you on the show.
Hmm. Pretty much. And
Yeah,
I think it's
that would
right here.
bother me.
I'll show you another cool thing. Like I have a lot of history from this. Like this is
That is
right
bad.
before I did it right here. This is April 26, 2009. This is me on a newspaper for storage auctions. And I actually went and did an Eye on the Bay news special right for before that, which was a big it's like a Channel 3 news around here. And they filmed me for like a week at the flea markets and the storage business, and then put out a big TV special on that. And this was all pre-television shows.
And
Wow.
you said so. You said that show was all fake, pretty much. So they
Well,
would they fake the
storage
units?
hunters, not
Right.
auction hunters. I can't speak for them, but the one I did, I mean, it was fake. Yeah, they rented out storage facilities and they filled up storage rooms, and then you sat there
Whoa.
and
Wow.
that's why I don't want to do television. That's why I went for this because I don't like things fake. I don't like fake things. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it's not cool
Hmm.
because like for me, I have thousands of friends coast to coast who thrive on this business. They feed their family, their children, themselves, all on this business. And when you glamorize something to a point that makes everybody think it's lucrative, you destroy it for people who are truly doing this the hard way for a living, you
So
know?
so let me ask you this then, because I get this a lot as a content creator, just in like the garage sale, estate sale, eBay space. That's more where I live and
Yeah.
have been for 10 years. And we get a lot of that too. You know, you're ruining the game. You're ruining garage sales. You're ruining eBay. Prices are high. I can't buy anything anymore because of the YouTubers. So you're pretty much saying that you would you say that YouTubers have ruined storage auctions as
I would
well?
blame it more on the television shows because they're more fake. And I would say I'm not going to mention names because I'm at war with a couple YouTubers in the storage business over the
Mhm.
years, and they are fake, in my opinion. They are
Okay.
100% fake in every aspect they do. But I honestly have probably more respect for the garage sale thrifter people than I would storage people because it's like you're not at the garage sale faking. You're not there planting a $10 find you're turning into $200. I know people are planting stuff in storage videos. They're
Yeah,
100% doing it.
How like
yeah,
what are usually, I'm not really I've actually done a few storage unit videos myself on my Thrift Mind channel.
Yeah,
But
I've
like,
seen a lot of your videos.
yeah, thank you. I remember you commenting back in the day quite a bit. So this is cool that we can finally get to meet. But like, I guess it's kind of hard probably to think of one just off the top of your head, but like what would be a tell for you that something is being faked in a video?
Just listening to the people, just
Okay.
watching them. You know, in my opinion, try watching What the Hales open a safe up.
Okay.
I'll say it. in my opinion, because then it's not a fact and slander. Just watch him open up a safe. It looks like a whole ass TV show. Pardon my French. Sorry, I didn't
Oh,
mean
you're
to
fine.
cuss.
You're
All
fine.
No,
right.
it's fine. If you say anything that we really don't want to air, we'll just kind of bleep it out real quick or whatever.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I try not to cuss because I really cuss a lot in television. But in my opinion, I think everything that guy does is fake. It's for the television show.
Okay.
And
I've
you can
never
see it.
watched him, so I don't have an opinion
I
on that.
used to
But
be best friends with him, but I've
oh,
watched
really?
things. I'm not going to comment on the things I've seen in person, but I could tell you, I just know it's hard to explain something that you can just kind of tell. You can kind of tell when somebody's over dramatized. They already know they're acting versus a person who is like, watch me in my safe video when I find that money. That is pure excitement, adrenaline, and mystery. I did not know. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And then you go watch
you,
a certain
you
somebody and you
collapse.
see what, yeah,
You collapse, and
that changed my whole life. That one safe, and it wasn't all mine. I split it with a partner who wasn't in that video, but that one singular find changed the whole dynamic of my life. I
Mhm.
took my half, and I immediately bought myself a brand new trailer, so I didn't rent from U-Haul no more. And that's always
Right.
been my motto in this business: is to invest in my business, upgrade my truck, upgrade my trailer, upgrade my space I'm working in. That's always been how I've elevated myself in this game.
So this is kind of a two-part question. First of all, how many, we'll say, how many storage units do you buy a month? And number two, how like what percentage of the storage units would you say are losers, where you lose money, wasn't worth buying?
See that has evolved over the years. So back in the day, I would buy like sometimes 10 storages a day. I was nuts. Like I would buy every cheap
Whoa.
unit. I would be taking two 24-foot rentals to the flea market on Sunday.
wow.
I worked a lot harder than smarter. And then over the years, like nowadays with the place, I don't know if you guys, I don't think you guys do Whatnot, but I'm sure you've heard of it.
Oh
Whatnot has
yeah.
changed. It's changed the whole evolution of everything. You can I've gone live and Whatnot and sold $50,000 in 2 hours. So I don't have the desire to buy a storage unit
Mhm.
and work hard to make $1,000 at the flea market when you can liquidate the right storage unit in 2 hours. And so now I'm very picky. Now I don't want to buy a household storage unit because in my opinion, 99% of storages are all the same. The only
Mhm.
difference is where the person shopped. Did the person shop at Five and Below? Did they shop at Walmart? Did they shop at Target? Did they go to Macy's? Or did they go somewhere a little higher? But every storage unit, 99% of them is a household. It's a person who has a living room, a kitchen, a bedroom, a garage, a backyard, and they just have the same things. And then there's that whatever they might have collected, whatever their parents might have left them type stuff.
Mm.
So I've really turned it down a lot. I don't want to buy for content. I don't want to just buy because this looks like I can say this person went to jail or whatever the case we all buy our storage units for. I don't want to do it for the video. I want to do it because I'm going to make money, you know, on the storage unit itself. And then if there's money that comes from content, cool. So I sometimes I don't even buy for a whole month now.
So what do
Wow.
you? So you're looking for what then? Because you said you mentioned the household stuff. So you're looking for more like stuff that's clear that it's like for commercial storage or maybe for a
I'm looking
business
for the
or
stuff that probably everybody wants now. The storage that you see on storage treasures that are like 10, 20, 30, 40 grand. Those are the ones that I'm probably on. Your baseball cards, your comic
Mhm.
books, your certain types of collectibles, your coins, your jewelry, your designer clothing, your sneakers. I'm looking for the stuff that that people want on Whatnot, not the stuff we have to sell because we have it and people are going to buy
Mhm.
it, but I'm looking just for select things. And I'm not buying, household stuff, but I'm shying away from it because the more like I run like knickknacks on Whatnot or vintage glass, a lot of it's not that good. But then you get your certain pieces, like you get a nice swung vase. Yeah, you're getting hundreds of dollars, but you
Mhm.
get your standard little milk white Fenton vase on, they're only paying $6 for it. You know what I mean? So I'm really trying to be pickier when it comes to storages, and I'm really more focused on consignment. What my new niche
Oh,
is I try to liquidate everybody in the Bay Area's stuff they find in the storage units. All my competition just says,
oh,
"Here, Mike, sell this for me." So I've
Whoa.
scaled in a different direction.
Okay.
okay, okay.
That makes sense.
So wow. So you have, man, that's got to be kind of, is that not? That's got to be kind of a bookkeeping nightmare sometimes, though, huh?
Not really, because the bookkeeping's real easy for me. Because like, everybody does their taxes differently, you know.
Hmm.
Like a lot of my friends, like Lockernus, for example, he wants to write down every sale. He wants to know which storage it went from, how much he made on that storage. I don't know how he does that, because like that's too much work. The only thing for me is at the end of the year what I sold, at the end of the year what I can write off. So let's say I did a
Mhm.
consignment for you and you had 3 shows worth of stuff. At the end of every show, I can pack the items real quick and I see what the money, like basically it's 15% out the door. So if I sold $1,000 for you and Whatnot took 150, we're splitting the rest. I'm Zellaying you or a check. So it's just intake and write off.
Right.
It's real simple.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Makes
You're
sense.
right. I mean, a lot of people getting way more granular than they need to. You're
And
absolutely
I
correct.
use a bookkeeper now because it's too stressful to keep up with the amount of money. So I have like a bookkeeping company who specializes in reselling, and they're like 500 a month for the amount of accounts I have, but it makes everything so much easier. And I
So,
started doing that because of Commonwealth Picker. He recommended it to me when we went to the Boss Reseller Remix, and I was like, I'm gonna do that, and it's made my life easier.
So,
so
do you have employees as well? Do you have any employees that work for you?
Currently, no. When I moved up here to the mountains, I had to let my employees go. My son was one of
Mhm.
my employees, and he decided to stay back in the Bay Area. His uncle was one of my employees, and we were like this massive Whatnot team. And then when I moved up here, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm like
Hmm.
2 hours away from everybody I know, and my business has gone backwards. I would tell you, for the most, like, I went from 1.1 million sales in 2024 to 560,000 in sales last year, and unless I pick up the pace, I'm gonna go down even more this year because I can't keep up with what I was doing before.
right,
It's
being a
impossible.
one-man band. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So
like, it's crazy what you can do on Whatnot. Like, just a fun fact, like I was on eBay for like 15, 18 years and I sold 26,000 items. In a period of 3 years, I've sold 100,000 items on Whatnot.
that's
it's
insane.
it's a different world.
It is, and the more we talk to people on this podcast, the more we hear stories about, like, okay, so you were on a video with Locker Nuts and Jeebus, right? The three of you guys did a collab. Well, we've had in a row now. We've had Locker Nuts, Jeebus, and now the Pirate. We've had all three of y'all right in a row. And before that, even we've talked to others, and it's, man, Whatnot sure does sound tempting. Why am I not doing Whatnot?
And
That
Jeebus
sounds
wasn't
awesome.
even going to do Whatnot. He turned them down for like a year. And one of the previous time he came to visit the Bay Area, I convinced him to come to my warehouse and do a show. I was like, "You got to get on Whatnot, Jeebus." I told him, I was like, "I just did 52,000 in 2 hours. I used to not make that in a whole year of working 360 days." And he came to my warehouse and we did this show in like 20 minutes. And he was like, he went home and started Whatnot.
Yep. Wow, that's crazy.
And that's not even the only platform there is. Like I also sell on Palm Street, which is growing. It's more for like plants and crafts, you know. There's District, which a lot of people like, you know, the Lamp Lady owns a District,
Mhm.
Commonwealth owns it. There's so many different
Mhm.
avenues you could do, but live selling is, and then there you got TikTok. TikTok's starting to step into this same world.
Yep.
Wait,
I saw that. I
what
saw.
is Palm? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I saw that TikTok recently started doing the live selling as well. I
I
don't know how
haven't
you
had,
get into that,
I don't know
but
if they've reached out to me because I can't keep up with emails from all the different people. I'm sure you guys
yeah.
get the same
Mm.
thing. Like everybody's trying to offer a collab, an opportunity, this. So
Mhm.
I don't even pay attention to any email that I ever get from businesses whatsoever. But I probably would try TikTok because realistically, they have one of the largest platforms in the world. Like they would
Right.
dwarf Whatnot as far as customer
Oh yeah.
accessibility.
Oh,
But
100%. Yeah.
I don't like selling new products. Like I'm not. I don't like sitting here and being like, "Hey, I got 20 of these over and over." You know.
So what is Palm Street? You said something about plants. So you sell
Palm
plants?
Street's like a newer one, and they started off with plants. Like that was like every app starts off somewhere. Like originally, Whatnot started off with just cards, and then they became comics and then Funkos, and now it's naturalized everything. Palm Street started off with plants, and like they had a plant sell like 4 or 5 months ago for 28 grand. I
Are you
don't know what the
talking
hell it
about like
was.
like just a house plant?
Yeah,
And
any type of plant. They sell
and,
ficuses and shrubs
What?
and
and people
yeah.
are mailing this stuff, or is this
Oh yeah.
local sales?
No, it's plants are a thing. Like you can even order plants on Amazon nowadays. Like a Bonnie tomato plant will come right to your door.
Okay, I
And
didn't know that was a thing.
I
oh
didn't
yeah,
either.
if you
That's
just
wild.
download Palm Street and check, there's people with 1,000 people in their room buying plants for 30, 40, 200, whatever. And like I said, 28 grand for some rare plant.
So why are you talking about Palm Street then? Are you selling plants?
No, well, they reached out to me and asked me to help them start the storage category, much like Whatnot did. I originally helped
Oh.
So
Whatnot
they've
launch the
branched out.
storage category.
So Palm Street
So
is branched out into
yeah,
storage.
if you were to look them up, it would say we're the prime plants and craft seller. Like if you just Googled it, but now they have coins, sports, storages, estates. They're branching out.
Expanding.
But
Okay.
it is
That makes
harder to
sense.
thrive on there. I will tell you. I started on it and I've stepped back because I don't like losing money. Like it's hard for me to
Right.
want to just sell somewhere where I'm selling $50 items for $2 when I can just stay on Whatnot and sell
Hmm.
$50 items for $40. Like what? It's a business move. I'm not trying to do that. They need to
So
get up a little bit more for me to want to stay there.
with your consignment deals, what do those look like? Do you generally like split the profits, or how do you structure those? If you don't mind talking about it, I mean, you don't
Um,
have to, but
Originally, it was always 50-50, but I've learned that it's hard to get people to give you, for example, $100,000 and stuff and just expect you to take 50% of it, you know? So
right.
I try to be a little more like if somebody was to give me like say $100,000 in product, I might do 40% after fees,
Mhm.
maybe 35, but that's pushing it because when I do a consignment, first off, I'm responsible for everything that happens
Mhm.
wrong. I'm paying for all giveaways. I'm paying for all shipping material. I'm paying for any help. I'm paying for any shipping overages, which is vast. Like on Whatnot, most of us do 921 max shipping, and sometimes I lose $100 in shipping on someone's order. But I'm willing to do that because they might have spent $1,500. So I don't care.
Mm.
But it's usually 50-50 after the Whatnot fees. And then I take any of the losses. They don't matter. I don't even articulate them, write them down because it doesn't matter. It's just their
Like if you
payment.
get returns or something like that, like if somebody has a problem with an order, is that what you're talking
That's
about?
very seldom on Whatnot. There's really no such thing as a return. There
So
might
what are
be a
you talking
broken
about?
item and stuff, but it's more like shipping overages for one, because
Okay.
like I said, max shipping 921, and say I'm selling a card lot for somebody, because like one of my best consignments, somebody consigned a storage find of cards, and I did like 123,000 for him in about a month. And so
Jeez.
and if I do a show and somebody buys five such a lot, and I break it into five large flat rates, which is amazing because as you guys know, like if you sell a large flat rate, it's like $22 on eBay. On Whatnot, it's only 921. So if I
Oh,
unbundle
really?
it into five packages, I pay 921 five times, but I just
Right.
take that out of my cut because I'm happy I'm making money, you know?
Sure.
Mm.
And then of course I'm the storage auction pirate, and you have a huge following, so that has a ton of value, so that's fair. And all the work you're doing to
Exactly.
actually sell the stuff, and your knowledge of all the product too, because you probably have not after all these years, it's probably pretty rare somebody brings something for you to sell that you don't already know at least something about, right? I mean,
Exactly. I'm not a very arrogant person, but the one thing I do have a lot of knowledge in is selling stuff, like what it's
right.
worth. And that's one of the few things I can. Don't ask me a math question or an English question, but like I'm pretty good at the value of something I've sold before. And one thing that puts like a person like me or you guys in a position is, if an average person started Whatnot, they have no following and they have
Mm-hmm.
no place to push it outside of Whatnot. The benefit you get from consigning with me is I can push it across 3 million followers to help attract people to come to Whatnot. So if your stuff is like comic books, you bring me whatever, I can put up some reels, put up some stories, attract people in. And
Mm.
naturally, I do have probably one of the largest followings in the storage category on there. I used to be number one, but I've kind of the last year I've really slacked. I gave up on like pushing it as hard and focused more like on life than business, you know.
Mm.
So who's number one now?
I would say on Whatnot, the largest following is Corey Man X right now. And then somewhere around there is going to be like Deals to Steals and Gen Jig and a couple other people that have moved up past me in the follower count there. But to be honest with you, follower count on Whatnot ain't worth dick on a stick. It's just a number.
So how many people are typically in one of your Whatnot shows?
About anywhere from probably 50 if I'm selling boring stuff like an animation cell to like 200-300 if I'm selling designer purses or high dollar. It really depends, you know, because
Mm.
there's 1,000 people live, and at this point they're kind of, it's like social media, they're bored if it's not cool stuff, they're just going to go right to the next guy, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Right.
And it's also giveaways. The biggest thing about Whatnot is most of these numbers that people have achieved, like follower count or status in their room, is truly 99% giveaway horse. There's like 1% buyers in your room and 99% people waiting to hit the free giveaway, free giveaway, free giveaway. So numbers are glorified there.
So people are following to get the free stuff. They're not really following to buy necessarily.
Hmm.
Okay.
So
That
it's
makes sense.
really easy to elevate yourself to 100,000 followers on there. You just give away really nice stuff nonstop. Everybody's going to follow and they're never going to come back and they're going to follow and you just
Yep.
go up there. But you have 100,000 followers and you have 100 people in your room. Make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if I told you, because like you said that the storage unit game is like it's really inflated now, right? Like it, would you recommend someone? Okay, someone like me. I don't really. I've bought like 2 units in my life, and it wasn't really. I didn't really make that much money. I didn't really get any big ones or anything. So it would be probably dumb for me to try and get into it at this point. Is that what you're thinking?
I honestly tell everybody that now, and I hate to like. I've never been scared of competition. I don't care if Donald Trump was there bidding against me. Like it don't matter who it is, you know. Like I've never been fearful of competition because I believe thoughts become things. If you fear your competition, naturally they're going to win. If you don't focus on that and you just do you, you're going to be all right. The reality is the storage business is ruined now. It's not just content creation, it's not just television shows. I believe live selling is now ruined
Right.
because
Whatnot, right? Whatnot is part of the problem as
exactly,
well.
because every big whatnotter has now learned about the
Mm-hmm.
storage business what they didn't
Yep.
know before. So now you'll see it. There was a couple guys like about a month ago on the Facebook group, and they were bragging how, oh, we just spent 50 grand on the storage unit. We're going live on whatnot to grab attention. Those words right there tell you everything. We bought this just to be able to go live and grab attention so we grow. So now everybody's flocking to the storage business for A, attention, B, because supply and demand is diminished.
Right.
Supply is
Mm-hmm.
running thin. Demand never changes. People will keep buying. The problem is the live selling has been like I know people who do like 10,000 products in a show on Whatnot. The ability to liquidate is diminishing all supply. So now storage units are where the supply is being fulfilled. So that's why everybody's willing to spend 20, 30, 40 grand on a storage unit because they need the supply and you can make the money like that. And
Yeah.
not to mention the gambling factor, because now we live in a world where, you know, pre-COVID, there was no value in things. COVID elevated
Yep.
all prices of collectibles 10x to 100x. So now people are looking for that. If they see one Pokemon, I'm going to throw 20 grand out because I'm going to find that shadowless Charizard. They see one baseball card, I'm going to gamble 50 grand because there might be a $3 million Mickey Mantle in there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
every aspect. The sneaker guys, I'm gonna spend 12 grand because there might be a rare Yeezy in there, you know?
Yeah, that's the only reason I haven't tried Whatnot yet, is because as a garage sale, estate sale, private collection buyer, like, we simply don't have the kind of like volume of
Mm,
inventory that would feed Whatnot.
I
You
see a
know,
lot
like,
of guys do really well in it. For example, watch Bearded Thrifter. He's purely a picker. And
yeah.
he is nonstop telling you how much he loves Whatnot, and he's quit his eBay. He's
right.
and all he does is pick and collections. This is something that I still don't. It doesn't make sense to me, but this is the way I equate it. I used to be the guy wanting top dollar. I wanted the eBay price, and I was
Mhm.
very slower in sales. The moment I learned on Whatnot that if I can take half or less for my product, but sell 10,000 times more, I've never made more money in my life
Right.
selling stuff for half than I ever did selling for full price. It doesn't even make sense when I say it.
Yeah, but
Well,
you have to have quantity. You have to keep the quantity coming in, though,
I
right?
mean,
Like,
it really depends on how much money do you want to make? You know what I mean? Like
right.
some of us, what is your goal? Some people only want to make 3, 4 thousand a month. Some people want to make 20,000 a month. Some people want to make 100,000 a month. It really would matter on what it is you want to make. You don't have to do 10,000 products on Whatnot. You can go live and sell 50 items a show. You can set a minimum bid if you want to. I recommend starting something higher and accepting if it doesn't sell, which is a really hard thing to do. Because me, I'm to the point
Mhm.
where if I don't have 100% sell through rate, I don't like it. So that's why I start everything at $1 and I gamble.
mm,
But I do believe supply is infinite. It's just what is you're trying to sell. Do you want to be a niche seller or do you want to be everything volume?
I'm not super well versed in whatnot, so I'm curious. What do you think the majority of buyers on whatnot look like? Are they looking to buy stuff to resell it themselves, or do you think it's mostly like a collector game over there? What do you
I
think is the
I think it's
majority?
wavy. I think it's wavy, and by that I mean like there are a lot of shows where it is resellers. Like I bet a lot of
Okay.
my people at this point are getting deals, and it is a lot of resellers. But it's kind of like a middleman game. You know what I mean? Like McDonald's
Mhm.
makes hamburgers, but somebody had to supply him with the buns. Somebody had to supply him with the hamburger. Somebody had to supply him with the ketchup packets. Right? It's like a teamwork. So if you start building
Right.
this posse of people who are making money off you, but you can supply them, it's
Mhm.
infinite. And then there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of collectors. There's a lot of, for example, women who are just buying designer purses to use them. Younger dudes who are buying sneakers just to put them in their closet. A lot of collectors who are wanting sports cards for their 401k plan. Like Pokemon. Like Pokemon's just stupid. I don't even get Pokemon. I really don't because
I
that's
don't either.
just so through the roof. You go on Facebook Marketplace and people like, I pay 92% for Pokemon. Like, how are you even making money?
Right,
You
I
know?
don't get that either. I get yeah, I see the shorts of at they go to the shows and the vendors are paying like 85 or 80% of the
hmm
book value. It's like, where's your margin at? I don't get that.
I think for on Whatnot, it really depends on like how you set your show. Like, what do you set out to be as a seller and
Mhm.
what audience? For like you, for example, Ryan, you're gonna be able to bring your audience. So if you're to start Whatnot tomorrow, you're gonna share it on your social media. You're gonna naturally automatically bring people in where a lot of people have that
Right.
disadvantage. So you're gonna have
Mhm.
people and it works well. Like I love my friend Jeebus, but his fans are crazy. They'll pay $54 for a dollar pack of cards. It don't even make sense. And I just sit back. I'm like, what the hell? There's no rhyme or reason to it.
What's he supposed to do? Not take it?
No, he does. I mean,
Right? I mean,
it's a weird world we live in. And a lot of people have absolutely no social media are killing it on Whatnot because they're just out there giving deals. Like I said, I've never made more money selling products for less than half of its value than I ever did selling full price. Now, an example of that is before I started Whatnot, my best year was probably 350,000 between social media and sales.
Hmm.
Then my first year of Whatnot jumped to like 500,000. My second year jumped to 1.1 million in
Wow.
sales. And I'm selling stuff for less than half. And then last year I kind of went down to 560,000 again. But I mean, that's still to me astronomical.
So that's still like over $1 million in value of product if you're
It,
selling at like half the value.
exactly.
Wow,
Exactly. And
that's
I'm
insane.
fine with that. Like it changed I wouldn't be living in this property right now if it wasn't for Whatnot. Cause like, long story short, I was homeless in my car 7 years ago. I had full custody of my children.
Wow.
This month, 7 years ago, after I met Jeebus for the first time, I got evicted from my home and I was living in the streets with full custody of both of my children. Flash forward 6 years, I bought this pretty much $1 million home, and it was because of Whatnot.
Whoa,
Not social media, not RPM, not storages. It was the ability to liquidate product fast enough to actually make money.
that's incredible, man. Wow. And it happened so quickly too.
Kind of. I mean, 6 years is quick, a
Well,
little bit.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool.
To
That's
go
something I
from
wanted to.
having $3 to my name and losing all my credit, 6 years is kind of fast, but
No,
Yeah,
that's
that's impressive.
very fast. Yeah.
Yeah,
So were you doing storage units at that time? Like when you were, what happened? You had a run, a string of, like, if you don't mind me asking, I mean,
I'm
you
very
did.
transparent. I don't really care. You can ask any
So did you
question.
just have a string of bad,
I
bad
think it
luck,
was me.
or
I would put all of it was a lot of reasons here and there, but one of them was mental issues, and by mental I mean, I was in court with my kid's mom. She became a fentanyl addict, and I had to get full custody. And it became like a over almost 2 year battle until she finally just signed them over to me and let me have them. And she went on with her life
wow.
and took them out of harm's way. I was in a bad relationship with a woman who was driving me crazy and doing some bad things that drove me a little over the edge, so I didn't feel like working. And I wasn't trying very hard. And I think I was chasing social media too much. I put too much eggs
mm,
in the basket of YouTube and not in the basket of being a reseller, which is solidified foundation. I'm not saying
Right.
social media isn't solidified foundation, but it is like it could be shallow real quick. You know what I mean? You can I went from, like, for example, I used to make 6 years ago at that time, I was making like 5,000 a month on YouTube. Now the channel's grown 7 times larger, and a good month's 1,200. You know,
Mm.
it's not always what it.
what? Why did YouTube get so hard? Because I mean, we're still doing okay on it, but it certainly seems a lot harder than it used to be. Like, 5 years ago it was way easy. Now it's like
I wish I knew the
super
answer to
competitive.
that, because like Jeebus will be very honest. He'll tell you I did like 800,000 this year on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that bad for everybody.
Right.
It's for me personally, in my opinion, I think people pay to sabotage my channel. That's the truth that I believe, because I became at war with some people who were not very good people, and they didn't like what I knew about them, and some bad things happened. For example, um, a YouTuber named Grimes Find had a warehouse burned down with like $500,000 of my product in it, and he cheated me out of a bunch of money. And at that
Whoa.
time, I was very good
I,
friends with What the Hales,
I
and
remember that video. I
Hmm.
we
remember that.
became enemies over all this. And I think that people paid to sabotage my channel to silence my voice because of what I know and have been through. And that's just my personal dilemma with YouTube. Um, for some, it's the algorithm. See, a lot of people speak the word algorithm, and no one knows what the algorithm is. It's
Right.
hypotheses, right? Uh, what I've learned from watching people like Jeebus is consistency. The man has put out the
Mm.
same video over and over. It's different, the same time, the same day. So you create what I think personally is the algorithm is a Fibonacci sequence. So the consistency works on a level. If you don't put out for 2 weeks, all it looks
Yep.
like is nothing. But if you
Right.
put out the same time, that nothing pinpoints the same time. And I have this weird, I don't really talk about it because I probably sound crazy. But I believe that the algorithm is very similar to the Fibonacci sequence. Something like, for example, go compare your lifetime chart of your views to like Tesla's lifetime chart on the stock market. Just start to look at these weird patterns, right? And so if you're not consistent, you're making different videos. Like for me, I make family vlogs on my channel. I make picking videos. I cooked a dinner. You watch real YouTubers who are making big bucks, they make the
You
same
can't. Yeah,
video
you can't do that. Yeah.
every time.
Yep.
Yep. It's true.
So,
Very
so,
hyper focused.
so tell me about your second channel. You have the second channel, Hustle, Grind, Rewind, and it's storage unit content as well.
Well, see, it's now going back to what I was saying, where I feel like people sabotage my channel, and
That's
I know
why.
they did because of what went on. But I decided to start a new channel to see if things changed. Right, so I started fresh, only storage videos, and I started to do the same patterns. I started to put picking videos, and now I've learned through this mistakes that thrifting videos, flea market selling, they all have good niches and will get views, but they're different audiences.
Sure.
Not everybody who wants to watch somebody at garage sale wants to watch somebody go through somebody's stuff in a storage unit and vice versa. So, A, I started to make the same mistakes. B, I wasn't consistent. And I started to realize, like, why did I give up a 300,000 viewer channel just to start fresh? Like, I worked so hard at Storage Auction Pirate, and I'm letting these people win by pushing me into a new channel. So I recently decided I'm going to turn Hustle, Grind, and Wine into the everything channel. It's going to be where I went on a family vacation, I sold at the flea market, blah, blah, blah. Here's me digging dirt holes in my mountain. And I'm going to go back to Storage Auction Pirate, and it's going to be all storages and only storages.
That's a good move, and it's really good to have a channel where you feel free to put whatever you want, because that can stop, like you said, that can stop you from making mistakes on the main thing.
That's what one thing I hate about social media is I feel where we don't have freedom of speech. I feel we have to play this role. We can't say the cuss words. We can't live our life. We have to play this PC role. And I don't like that. I don't like feeling constricted.
There's definitely an element to that when it comes to advertisers, I would say.
Exactly.
Sure.
You have to play the role.
Yeah.
And I used to be the opposite of that. When I started, like I said, when I started in 2007, which the videos don't exist, I would be in a storage unit and I would just sit there and I would say every cuss word. I'd be like smoking a joint. I'd be doing all the wrong things, but I enjoyed that because I was me. I was like myself and authentic. I would break stuff and like I didn't care. But the moment I wanted to make money, I had to become PC, kid friendly. I had to play this role.
Well, I kind of went through that myself too, Pirate, because early on I would curse a lot, a pretty good bit. And, I wanted to make money too, but that wasn't the reason. I finally, one day I had one of my viewers say that, man, I really like watching you, but when my kids come in the room, I have to pause. I can't play. And I was thinking, is cursing really worth someone not being able to watch?
I've heard that same comment so many times.
And that kind of bothers me that someone feels like they can't watch me around their kids, and that's when I kind of change my behavior as far as the cursing goes, so
I'm kind of conflicted in that because this is just my personal opinion, which I know a lot of people don't agree with, but I feel like a lot of people shelter their kids too much. Like I'm not turning my TV off because somebody said the F word
right
in front of my kids. You know what I mean? Like my kids are going to turn 18 and they're going to think that the world never cusses. And they're like, oh my God, so-and-so. This is why we have eventually depressed emo children in this world, because we're sheltering them all from all of life,
Right. Fair enough. But when I started thinking about that, I was like, is it really worth it? Does cursing make me feel so good that it's worth that?
I do get it.
And I was like, nah, I can let that go. It's fine.
This is why I like Whatnot, because on Whatnot, I can click the explicit content. I could say all the F words and the S words and anything I want on there.
They let you do it. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And do you do it?
All the time.
Okay.
And the biggest Whatnotters do it all the time. Like you watch,
really?
One of my favorite guys is Joe Hollywood. he's a big sports card guy. I'm doing a collab with him live from a unit here in 2 weeks. I paid 20 grand for a sports card unit, and we're going to open that door and sell it live, which I never do because you can't make content then. But that man has like 500,000 followers on, or yeah, 500,000 followers plus on whatnot. F bomb every other word.
Wow.
Does
That's
like
wild.
$200,000-$300,000 shows at a time, you know. But I get it because like for me personally, like recently, I became a religious man. I used to never believe in God, and I'm starting to study the Bible and
Yeah,
things like
interesting.
that. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm trying to find myself cutting back on the cuss words, and
Mhm.
it's a struggle because I'm a pirate. There's a lot of things that make me a pirate. You know what I mean? And cussing
Arr.
is one of them.
It is that like so why did you've always been storage auction pirate your entire since you've been on YouTube?
When I originally started this, I was lockerware. Because my
Lockerware.
motto back then when I first started doing this was my whole life comes from a storage unit. I wear clothes from a storage unit, lockerware, WARE. But
Mhm.
I started my Facebook in 2008 or whatever as well as lockerware. That was my YouTube. And then sometime around then, Pirates of the Caribbean 1 came out. And I really
Ah,
liked Jack Sparrow's just like
okay.
ambiance,
Yep.
right? And he starts
Yeah,
off with
sure.
that movie with the problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude is towards the problem. And something in my brain like that so much, I'm like, I'm gonna be a pirate.
Wow.
I'm gonna be the storage auction pirate.
You
That's
know,
awesome.
we were talking about the Amber
Before the
Heard
show.
just before you got in, and we were
Yep.
gonna maybe kind of lead with that, but so okay. So did you watch all that trial? How'd you like that trial?
I didn't really watch it because I'm not a trial guy. I just kind of
I'm not
I
Yeah.
either,
listened to it
but
in the news and stuff, but
okay.
You a Johnny
Okay.
Depp fan?
I do like Johnny Depp. I've always liked him since like literally 21 Jump Street as a kid. It was one of my favorite shows in the
Hmm.
80s.
Okay.
And I don't see him as a bad person. We all make, I know he's probably a wild guy. Anybody in his
Mhm.
position is doing wild things, you know, and they had a
Sure.
lot of back and forth stuff. But I feel bad for him, what happened. But now he's in the position where, like, Disney's trying to apologize to him for shunning him, you know what I mean? Offering him mega bucks just to do one more movie, you know? Like, I can't feel bad for that.
Right. So going back to something that you said a few minutes ago, if you don't mind talking about it, I'm just curious because I've never heard anybody say something like this. When it comes to sabotaging the YouTube channel, do you have any ideas of like what that could have been, or like do you have any evidence, or like what does that? Do you have
Well, I'm
any
going to again
ideas?
start off with the word "in my opinion" because that's how we avoid lawsuits and
Allegedly,
slander. And
yeah.
we have to avoid lawsuits because some of these people like to do that. This person who I believe, in my opinion, sabotaged my channel used to be my friend and tell me how people would do it. He would tell me that people would pay for low end views. They would pay for things like dislikes. They would pay for things of that nature. So what a low end view is,
Oh,
you're an American audience, but all of a sudden you have a mega onslaught of views from India, a mega onslaught of views from Vietnam or Mexico, where they're very low. Because I have a lot of Mexican storage friends who do Spanish channels, and for example, they get like 90 cents in RPM, where we get 10 and 20,
so
right? Because
you can like buy views for videos or something
oh
with like
yeah,
bots. Oh
and when
wow.
my problems started to happen, they actually oddly started when I became friends with this person too. This person used to be a vlogger and all of a sudden saw my videos and wanted to make storage videos. And I used to go live all the time on my channel when I was just a single dad. And I would start off a live with like 100 dislikes. Make it
Whoa.
make sense. And so long story short, as time evolved and we became enemies, so to speak, I used to have all these people all over every live. They would be in Jeebus's, Locker Nuts, Storage Stalkers, every one of my friends, and they would be in there saying stuff like, Storage Auction Pirate's a criminal on fake accounts. They
Oh
would be
wow.
saying things like, Storage Auction Pirate's a pedophile, Storage Auction Pirate's a rapist, Storage
Whoa.
Auction. They would smear my name all over every live on YouTube during the COVID YouTube auction era where everybody was doing their lives nonstop. And I started to think about this as time evolves. This is real interesting because these are all the allegations that people are saying about a certain YouTuber that you can't deny. And somebody's saying that about me. That's very unique. You're going to call me a this and that, and I'm a man sitting here with full custody of my children in the state of California. How bad of a person really am I? You know what I mean? But there's a lot of ways to smear. So let's say you smear somebody's name. If somebody has a certain amount of views and you manage to piss off the audience, I'll tell you, number one, the algorithm follows the audience. So if you can get enough people pissed off at a person where they stop watching, all that looks like is a downslide, and the algorithm's automatically going to pull you back and make you invisible. So there's multiple ways this can transpire. And I know for a fact that this type of stuff happened because at one point we were able to trace live comments to a URL or an IP address. And I have traced IP addresses to certain small towns that only certain people live in, like certain YouTubers. Real coincidence that I'm being trolled by a person who lives in a tiny little town in Ohio. Make it make sense.
Interesting. Okay.
Again, this is all in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I was just curious on that because I've never heard of, YouTube channels getting sabotaged before. I'm not doubting it, but yeah.
I mean, I can't prove it, and it is what it is. But you can buy views to get there. Trust me, there's ways to do both, and that's just my personal belief. Because I hate to say it, because I don't like drama. I really don't. I don't like that I ever became. What I learned from that is I'm very choosy who I become friends with, and do social media videos. It's quite obvious. For example, you can watch how many people want to be that guy's friend anymore. Very few people want to make videos with him. All he does is go around suing old people and picking on handicapped people and doing whatever he can to get views. None of the rest of us talk to this guy. So I'm very picky at this point. He taught me a lesson. Be careful who you bring into your circle.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Very true.
Because I've also learned that a lot of people will use you they see you doing something right. They're like, oh, you're going to put me on,
Yep.
That's dangerous. And a lot of people will look at you like, a lot of people want to do things with me, like buy storages or make videos. And I'm like, you got to have something to bring to the table at this point. It's not being cocky or arrogant, but I've been used so many times since the moment I started this that I've really become selective in what I'm doing. Like I've never met Ryan before, but I knew right away he's put himself somewhere. So I had no problem doing something like this because I know you're not in this just for my name or something.
I was about to ask you that. I was about to ask you why you did the this little rinky-dink podcast with us tonight.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a rinky-dink because I haven't seen it before, but I know Ryan had a big channel. I know he was getting mega views on Thrift Mine, and I know he's put himself out there to build something, And there are a lot of people who are literally, I've experienced a lot on Whatnot. I learned it the most on Whatnot. How many people are just like, they cling to you to climb up the ladder. You know what I mean? So
clout. What do you call it?
Dave Tesla Pecker. Clout demons.
Clout demons.
Mm-hmm. You got to be careful, and it's not about arrogance or trust me. I don't think of myself. I think I'm way down here. I think of myself as nobody, and people come up to me all the time. And they're like, "You're a celebrity," and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like nobody. I'm like Mike from the streets. Like I'm nobody. And I get this all the time. I have no head whatsoever. But people see you in a position.
Yeah, they're calling you a celebrity, yet you're like, dude, I'm working my fingers to the bone every day. How am I a celebrity?
I hate all that. Like if you saw me at the flea market, I hide in my box truck while my uncle or my helper does the work because I don't want to talk to people. Like I'm recluse, and a lot of it is people who always come to me and say those things, and I'm like, can I have your autograph? Like, no, I'm not. I don't. Why you want my autograph? Like, I'm nobody, But when we're on social media is like the new Hollywood. It's like Hollywood's phasing out. Content creators are the new Hollywood. So people see you with a channel. Like if you tell somebody, hey, I got 300,000 followers on YouTube. Oh, you must be a millionaire. Right. No. I made $1,000 this month.
Right.
Yeah, it used to be. We actually talked about this. I think with Jeebus, like 10 years ago, people would use YouTube to try and get to the TV show, And now YouTube, like once people make it on YouTube, they don't want to talk to the TV show because it's not as much money. It's it's not as solid. It's going to get canceled after a year or two probably.
And anyway. I talked to my daughter about this a lot because she wants to be an actor, and I keep trying to tell her the actors now love YouTubers. They want to invite the YouTuber to their
Right.
movie opening. Like this is the way. Hollywood is phasing out, and content creation is the easier way. TV shows are going away. Movies aren't as like, it's not a cool thing like it used to be, because content creation gives you the freedom to be you, and it's
Right.
big.
That's why Storage Wars had to call Jeebus up and fly him in to do a show with them, right?
Right. So
It's funny.
a few minutes ago, you also mentioned something about, if you don't mind talking about it, I know it's kind of a personal thing. You talking about like faith, and
Yeah.
what does that look like for you recently?
Did you have something
I'll
happen in particular?
Yeah, did something like happen, and like
Well, I,
you
I
have
don't
like an
know why.
awakening, or
Maybe because of I've lived a really tough life. My parents were both drug addicts. They passed away a few years. I've seen every thing that you don't want to see in life, and I think that made me a cold person to where I didn't want to believe in God for the longest time.
Mm,
Until the harder life got for me, I started to realize that maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's all these things where God trying to talk to me. And I was going through a lot of personal things at the time, and I got to what I would call a dark place. And I was sitting in this garage one day, and the best way I can describe it is if a bolt of lightning came through this roof and hit me, and it changed my perspective on things to the point where I became an instant believer in God. I realized that for so
Wow.
long, God has been talking to me, that everybody in my life is, from locker nuts to friends I've had for 30 years, they're all like continually coming to me talking about God. I'm starting to think, this is God sending me angels. This is God directing me in a way. I'm not listening. He's giving me tests, He's giving me chances. And I just, for the most part, just immediately started believing in God, because
Wow.
I believe that he's been knocking on my door for years, and I just wasn't opening.
Man,
And so,
you know what? I went through something similar last year, and this guy sitting right here, Ryan, he's my angel. So like what you're saying, and he's been there for years, and I've not listened to it. We've been friends for, I don't know, 8 years or so now, and I didn't
yep,
listen to it for the longest time until last year, and it hit me like a bolt of lightning too. So what you just said totally resonates with me. That is so cool.
that's what it was. Like I mean, like it was just like literally everybody in my life, even to like one of my daughters. She's actually Jess's daughter, but I call them my daughters because I love them like they were my children. I was like a couple years ago, I would sit at the dining table and try to tell her how I don't believe in God, and she would
mm,
sit there and pray every night at dinner and tell me all these things. And I believe, like, for example, she was one angel that God sent to me to help me believe. And it was so many instances like this, whether I'm talking about crypto with one friend and he's telling me, have faith in God and it's going to come, not the crypto. Like all the is everywhere I look is, for the last few years, is people who didn't believe in God talking to me about it. And I realized that it just is so hard to explain, but it just all kind of clicked one day, and like one of the darkest days of my life, where
yep,
I can't explain. I was just in a place where like I was ready to give up on not like kill myself, but like I just was tired of everything. Like the weight of the world was on my shoulders, and I was just done. And the bolt of lightning just
It,
clicked.
wow,
And
it, isn't that amazing? Like it's like because I've always wanted to believe, but I never like I was like I need something, some kind of proof or something, and I still don't have it. But like you said, it was like some type of energy or something, and all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I believe.
I'm
All
the
of a
same
sudden,
way. For many, even when I never believed in God, I still believed in. I used to believe in the laws of attraction, the secret, so I called it the universe. But I think that was my.
mm,
mm,
I had people directing me in that manner, but I always like would be like, well, what would, even when I didn't believe in God, I'd be like, would Jesus do this? What would Jesus do? Like that was always my thing that has kept me from being like my parents and my family and everybody I
yep,
grew up with, that kept me out of trouble. I still always, in some weird way, what would Jesus do? And I've always talked to God even when I didn't believe him. I'll be like, give me a sign you're real. I would try to like give him almost like an ultimatum, you know what I mean? Prove to me you're
hmm
real so I can believe in you. And that's the problem. When you start trying to do that, God don't give you something just to be like, oh, now I'm real. You know what I mean? He breaks you down for you to see, to have faith, you
It's way
know?
more profound that way.
And
Yep.
and sometimes I still struggle now. Even I won't lie, even as a believer, I've been start to like question it because I do a lot of praying and all these things,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I don't think he's listening to me. I don't think he's hearing me. I don't think he's, and I get a little conflicted even now sometimes because
Sure.
I'm
It's
following
normal.
exactly what you're saying. My mind starts to will prove to me, and
Life
yeah.
is hard, man. Life is so
It's
hard.
not easy.
We don't talk about enough about that stuff, I think, and that's one of the things I've always tried to be in my social media is not so much just a storage guy, but like I try to be like a person who talks about life problems. You know what I mean? Because no
Mm.
one wants to talk like that's why I spend so much time talking about going through court and being a single dad because I know there's hella single dads out there who don't know how to make it another day. That's why when I got my eviction notice literally came the week after I did a collab with Renee from Storage Wars, Treasure Hunting, and Jeebus, What the Hales, and all the big guys. And I
So
immediately
everybody.
went live and I told the whole
Wow.
world because I
Wow.
want people to know you're not alone. Like this life is tough. And I've known too many people who have committed suicide and things because they don't know how to thrive in a tough time. And I've always wanted to use my platform to be a voice so people know you're not alone. You know, I like when I tell people about buying this home, it's not to brag. It's to teach people that literally 6 years ago I had nothing. I had full custody of my children, no credit. Trust and believe there's nothing you can tell me. I've been through everything: physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, poverty. I've lived with every drug addict, murderer type of thing you can. There's no excuse you can ever make. But not enough people get to hear that. They don't have enough people preaching that because most people just want to talk about good. They want to talk. They want to highlight everything, and people, the world needs to know they're not alone. It's a dark place just as much as it is light.
Hmm.
It is. Yeah, it
When you
is.
got the eviction notice, was that the turning point, or like, was there kind of a time there where you still were struggling a lot and trying to find your way, or like, did you have a point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna change my life and I'm gonna turn it around right now, or was it kind of like a gradual thing?
um it was a combination of things. For one, it was severe luck. Like, so I did this collab with everybody, and Jeebus is an amazing person. He's one of my favoriteest people in the world. So he saw me go live, and he was on his way back to home, and he literally turned back around and he ended up staying for like 2 or 3 months, rented his Airbnb and let me and my children stay there with him. And
Wow.
so I started grinding. My children
Wow.
stayed off and on. They would stay with their grandma too. And then I got lucky. I just went to work, right? Like, I won't lie, a lot of my motivation was Jessica. I was pursuing her. And I had a friend who was the one who talked to me about laws of attraction a lot, and he was very anti-God. So he's helped manipulate me into not believing in God, but he helped manipulate me into
Uh,
getting to where I was. And he
Mm.
used to tell me things like, how would you want to be with Jessica if you don't have the life that she deserves to live? Do you have the home that her and her kids deserve to live in? These things like this. And I started really manifesting. You're right. How am I supposed to want to be with her if I don't even have a place for my kids, let alone her kids? I'm not the man that she deserves. I don't have et cetera, et cetera. So I just went to work. I started buying storage units and I got really lucky. I'm an all in type of guy. $1,000 to my name, everything's due. I'll spend it all on a storage unit right now. That's just how I am. So I
Wow.
bought a unit for 1,000. Boom, hit like 7 grand in gold. Went to the scrap yard, sold the gold. Next day comes up this $7,000 unit I bought, which changed my
all
life.
in.
That's the unit that I all in every dollar 7,000. I sent that unit to Grimes. That's the unit that was a mega. That unit should have made me two, three, $400,000. I ended up with like 19,000 because, in my opinion, he screwed me. And then the other half went up in fire at his warehouse the week after Tiger King's building burned down on television. And I was offered a $500 insurance policy for mega bucks disappearing. And
Wow.
but then I got lucky again. I took my little bit of money. I bought another storage unit. I hit this mega locker that had 8 pieces of art in it. Mega money, and I just kept getting lucky. I was just like all in, all in, all in.
So
Wow.
can we go back real quick to the part about Jeebus when he turned around? You said he came back and what happened? He rented an
He
Airbnb.
decided to like keep his Airbnb for like 2 more months and invited me to stay with him.
So you were literally homeless with your kids,
Oh yeah, I was.
and
I most.
he gave you a place to live.
Yeah, I was sleeping on the side of the road about a mile down from where my warehouse was that I moved from here, or I would sit in the Martinez Marina in my car and where all the tweakers lived, and I would just sit in my car every night and let my kids stay at their grandma to try to save money on a hotel. And that's we wanted to go hang out together because I didn't like being at the grandma's very much, and I would just go rent a hotel and then I stayed with Jeebus, but I also felt kind of like prideful. Like I appreciate you letting
Right.
me stay, but it's awkward for me. You know what I mean? Like I'm a
Mm.
man. I don't want you to take care of me. But he truly helped me in a time I
Man,
needed the most. Him and
Wow.
that's
Amber.
amazing. So you
That's
live
incredible.
you live with him for a couple of months.
And like about
Wow.
2 months, pretty consistently. It was like I said, I'm a man. It's hard for me to just sit here and let
Sure.
Amber and
Oh no,
Jeebus
I
help
get it.
me. You know,
Hmm.
and so,
Man,
but then when they
that's
left,
so
I
awesome.
wasn't quite in a home and I went back to staying on the side of the road. And it was like, it's really not a thing for me because I spent most of my childhood homeless. My parents were heavily addicted to meth. I've literally lived out of a car for multiple years of my childhood. I've slept in broke down vehicles in front of friends' houses as my bedroom in the 10th grade. You know, like I've seen it all. So it wasn't
Wow.
like a struggle for me. What my problem was is I put my kids in that position. That
Right.
was the hard part for me.
Mm.
Here I am repeating history, and I want to be the one who breaks the generational
Mm.
curses.
Wow.
And
You've done it.
it looks like you've done it. I mean, do you ever feel giving your background, do you ever feel like you could just lose it all again? Like
I mean, anybody can.
does that scare you? Like, are you scared of that?
In a sense, I wouldn't say I'm scared because this is the hard part. When you fear something, you bring it to life. What I do
Mm.
know is if I lost it all today, I can get it back. That's what
Okay.
I do know. And so the fear, it doesn't exist because it's just part of life, you know? That's why I like the laws of attraction, the secret, because what puts the 1% above the 99% is the people way up here in life know that they can lose $1 billion today, but they can make it again tomorrow. And that's why most people never get to where they want to be because we focus on fear. We
Yep.
focus on the lack of. We wake up and tell ourselves, damn, I need $4,000 this month to pay my bills. Why'd you limit yourself? You just told the universe you're never going to make more than $4,000 this
Mhm.
month. Why not
Yep.
say I need to make 40 grand? So I put them in my retirement. I go to vacation. I buy my kids a great, it's laws of attraction. You tell yourself I don't want to be sick. All you've told the universe is make me sick. You tell the universe, I don't want to lose this. All you've told the universe is make me lose this. God, the universe, however you want to look at it, thoughts become things. So it's very dangerous. That's why you're
Wow.
having fear in anything is dangerous. That's why no fear is actually a very dangerous thing because you're actually manifesting fear. You got to be fear free. One of my favorite quotes of all time that changed my life is Mother Teresa was asked why she never goes to an anti war rally. And her response was, if you ever hold a pro peace rally, I will be the first in line
Hmm.
because anti
Mm.
war means more war. So, yeah,
Interesting.
that's my
That's.
thoughts on what if I lost everything. I know I can get it back if I had to.
I think that's a great perspective. That is a great perspective. And actually, the Bible talks a lot about that too. And I'm sure you've read some of the Bible verses that basically says, "Fear nothing. Fear nothing."
Exactly. I think that
So
there's like I see it on TikTok, but there's like a number of times that the word that the don't fear something is mentioned in the Bible.
a lot. I
I
think
haven't made it that
it
far
might
in
have
my
been.
Bible. I'm not gonna lie. It's like it's a hard book to read.
It is. Yeah,
Like
especially parts of it.
I've read so many pages and all it talks about is how many times somebody was born, what children they've had, and I was like, it's like like when do I get to some good stuff? I start skipping to other passages because I'm tired of hearing about Abraham's fifth kid and living to be 932 years, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I need some profound stuff,
yeah. The Old Testament's a little brutal with that.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. that's gonna kind of resonate with me right there, what you just said. Because like little vulnerable moment for me, like I struggle with anxiety a lot. I fear a lot of things, and that's gonna help me. I'm gonna keep that in mind.
That's the
Yeah.
way
Yeah,
I believe the world knows this. It's
yeah.
psychological. That's if you a really cool thing to watch is The Secret. If you ever get a chance, it's called The Secret. It's like a 2.5 hour. I used to be a very negative person. I used to
Hmm.
fear everything, and I spent every day of my life listening to that book. I would fall asleep to it. I would listen to it on the way to work, and it's all about laws of attraction and thought process. And we grow up in a society that trains us to be scared. We are trained in
Hmm.
every aspect of our life from the moment we're born to the moment we're 18 to be a slave in a job. Every aspect of our life is trained to follow this, fear this. You're never going to have enough, and you're supposed to think of abundance. You're supposed to think of positive. That's why I believe in religion, and I understand now that having faith in God is important because you're being positive.
Yep.
You're being grateful for the moment and letting the rest unfold. When we focus on fear and lack of, we're only creating more of that. When we just let go and it's all positive thoughts, the more flourish.
Wow, that's great. You got
Well,
anything
Pirate,
else,
I
Lonnie?
think I don't. I think that's a perfect
I agree.
place to wrap this episode up. And I appreciate what you said in the last 15 minutes, most of all about fear, because
Mm,
I think fear is one of the things holding me back personally more than anything. So I appreciate what you said about that. A lot of times we look at the worst case scenario,
yep.
which is really not very likely to happen.
I mean,
When I
like the
say
reality
we, I
is,
mean
whatever it
me.
is you're fearful of, what's the worst that can happen? Complete failure. The only thing that gets in our way of that is pride, and that's a sin, right? Like
Hmm.
the worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work, and you just regroup and do it again.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So true. Well, thank you, Mike, for doing Mike, right?
Yeah,
Full
Mike,
circle.
Dave.
Mike, Dave, Pirate.
Yeah,
Thank you for doing this, man. We really appreciate it. This was a
yeah.
fantastic conversation. This is
I
a really fun one.
really appreciate your transparency
Yes.
and just how open you are and fearless you are.
you
That
have to be.
this
You
was awesome.
have to be. Long story, the real quick tidbit. When my father passed away, I'll show you this interesting piece of paper I have right here. I had a card reading from somebody because I was distraught about my dad dying, and I
Mm.
had a medium give me a reading, and she told me that my dad was whole again. He was warm from being on the other side. He was grateful for his family he had while he was here. And the first thing he told me for me was to stop being fearful and be vulnerable
Wow.
and authentic and let go of worrying about what I don't know. And I keep
There
that
you
in
go.
my both my parents are inside that box over there. But it's just the interesting thing that when my father passed away, I got a message from somewhere saying those exact things that we're pretty much discussing.
Wow. Awesome.
And it resonated me because I was that person who was I was always fearful of things, and I don't think about that anymore. Whatever you feel like doing, not just YouTube, anybody out there, chase your dreams, go all in.
Yep.
The worst thing that can happen is it's a complete failure, but no one cares. Life goes on. You're only like what does it say right there? It's hard to beat a person who never gives up. You know what I mean? I got these things everywhere around my warehouse now. You will never hit a home run if you don't swing the bat.
Yep.
Right on.
So good.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks, Pirate, and thank you guys for listening and watching. We really appreciate it. And go follow Storage Auction Pirate on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and whatnot
Whatnot.
everywhere. I'll try to link it all in the description below. So
Awesome.
thanks. Have a great
Good
night.
night, y'all. Bye.